I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Hey guys, welcome back to my shop and another Micro Brushless review. Today we're going to talk about the SPC Maker 90S. This is a 90mm Micro Brushless with 3K carbon fiber and a pretty low stack on here. This one's pretty low profile. I don't have the props nuts on each prop here, but these are the 5-blade props, and like I said before, these aren't my super favorite. I'd probably replace these with the Gemfan 2035s. And it seems like there's so many different SPC Maker mini quads out there right now. Which one do you choose? Which one's right for you? It also depends on your level, your skill level. If you're brand new getting into this, this would be a decent one to start out with, because this one is not going to be quite as crazy as something like the 90NG, which is going to be super hard to PID tune, and probably you're going to have some help with that one. But this one you can get right up in the air, bind it up with your DSM-X, your FrSky. It also supports FlySky receivers. So PPM or S-Bus, you can set that up. It also has an Omnibus F3 on here, so that's also been one of my favorite types of flight controllers. It's very, very reliable, and pretty much most of the time will fly great out of the box without having to have a whole lot of Betaflight PID tuning. And as a new guy, that's kind of important. I also kind of dig the low profile of this one. Super short stack in here. It does have a little 600 TVL all-in-one camera on here with your antenna going out the back, so they do have some kind of extension out here. And I do see 4 wires on the side here, guys, so you do have built-in OSD, so you're going to get all of your on-screen telemetry. Also probably going to be tunable inside Betaflight, so you can go in there and add your pilot name. You can turn on and off crosshairs and things like that, what you see on your screen. You can also move things around and save it. You can also change the font, which is super cool. Now I'm just going to remove these props real quick and show you these motors a little closer up. And by the way, you do get 2 sets of props in there, which is cool. You can see these motors from the very top. It's kind of a nice looking, clean little design. JST in the very back, and I would leave this JST on there for now. I'm going to see if it has any flips of death for you guys, but I'm also going to turn up the motor idle to something like 9 or 10 for the D-Shot settings. And by the way, you have a pretty standard ESC stack on here, which is 10 amp D-Shot 600. And I do notice on the bottom of this quad, I'm missing a couple screws right here for this motor. These other ones have 4, and this one has 2. So you want to go over the bottom of your motors and just double check that all of these are tight, because some of these do feel loose from the factory. Anytime you get a new quad from China, you always want to go over the frame with one of your Allen wrenches and just make sure that everything is nice and snug, because I've gotten other models previously that I've had screws fall off of, and I haven't flown this one yet, so it shouldn't be missing a couple screws. Maybe they're inside the case. But the case is also one positive of this quad. SPC Maker started including these cases, which are super nice. Look at that bolt right there. That one's like even kind of hanging loose, completely loose. It's not even close to being tight. So just go over all of these bolts, tighten those up, and you also want to make sure that your rotating collar in the center is not rubbing up against the side of the frame. That's going to be super important, that you don't have that collar rubbing while you're flying, because it could burn up your motor if it gets stuck, which normally on the micros it's not a huge problem. Okay, so we're all good there with those. And also on the bottom, looks like 20 by 20 mounting, so if I lose any of these components, I can probably replace them with some other type of flight controller, and I can use this pretty much a universal setup on this frame. So I like the frame itself. Now it does have Betaflight 3.1 on there, which is okay. I would like it to have Betaflight 3.2, obviously, so I can do dynamic filtering and all that good stuff. But aside from any real cons, I don't see a whole lot of cons on this one, because it is a pretty simple design, and I'm actually pretty happy with this case. You can put it in there with the props on, and you have plenty of slots here for batteries. I can get up to like 8 batteries in these slots, and mainly because they include these skinnier, more narrow style batteries. I like these a lot. These are 500 milliamp 30C2S batteries, And for this particular frame, it seems like they included this battery because it fits better with that really narrow profile on that frame. Here's the other battery the SPC Maker makes, and it's sort of a wider battery, and that's also 30C and 500 milliamps. So I kind of prefer this design for my brushless micros over this wider one. Now, also in the case for the 90S, you do get some hardware for putting your props on and off, and those are only 2 bolts on each prop. You also get some extra Velcro, which is super nice. This will go along the bottom and on the back sides of your batteries. You also get 2 Velcro straps in there with the SPC Maker logo on there, and I actually prefer these straps. I think they're actually really nice. This just goes up through here like this and straps down underneath the quad. Pretty nice straps. And if you need them, they also include 3 zip ties in here too. These little tiny zip ties are kind of hard to find, so it's nice they include these. And lastly, you get your second set of props in here, and those are those 5-blade props. I'm not a huge fan of these, mainly because these break pretty easily. So if you can get some of these other 20-35 props, run these if they will fit on there. The Gym Fan 2035s are going to be a lot better, probably a lot smoother and cleaner performance out of those props too, because I'm not sure that you really need the extra blade on there. 4 blades seems to be enough for brushless micro. So I'm going to go ahead and charge up these batteries, put them on the charger, and we'll go out and do a stock setup test for you guys. I'll show you some line of sight flying, and then we'll do some FPV action with this little 90S. All right, let's do a quick little line of sight flight test with this little SPC 90S. Pretty cool little quad. Here we go. Sounds like a little bit of wobble in the motor right away though. Kind of wonder if that's going to translate to some vibes in the video. We'll have to see about that. But it looks pretty nimble. Just sounds a little bit fluttery, like it needs some PID tuning. Another SPC Maker that doesn't quite fly super good out of the box without PID tuning. So the most recent one that I had did the same kind of thing. So kind of interested to see how this one's going to do. But before I waste too much of this battery, let's go ahead and set this down. We'll do one last punch out. Not bad. So I'll come back and land on the landing pad and we'll be good to go to do some FPV. All right guys, let's go ahead and get this one flying. Now I'm keeping this JST set up stock, and I'm not upgrading it to the XT30 right now. I think if you update this one to the XT30, you probably have a really fast quad. Now I did hear some flutter in the motors when I was doing that line of sight test, and that kind of worried me. I thought, well, here we go, another SPC Maker that I'm gonna have to PID tune right out of the box. I'm not going to be able to fly it. It's going to have too much jitter, but you know what? It seemed to be doing pretty well here, and it wasn't bothering me. There's a ton of jello in the camera because of that little bit of motor flutter, so it's very subtle on the one that I got, and it's pretty fast. It's actually, I think it's a little faster and a little bit more responsive, and I can kind of get out of those quick snap turns, throttle out of them a little quicker than the FrSky Q95 that I just demoed at the same spot. I was kind of wishing for a little more punch on that Q95, but Q95 is predictable. This one seems to be maybe a little more squirrely, so it's kind of hard to keep those same type of lines with this one, but I feel like it's faster and it has more power. I believe they're also on the same rates, so there's no difference in rates there. Hit, you know, it's crazy you can just hit a branch and bounce off of it with these. This 2035s really take some abuse. Seem to be quite smooth. Just gonna go up for that. Oh, nope, decided not to hit that tree gap again. Now it's pretty shadowed right here, so this is a pretty good example of how good this camera is. There's a lot of really kind of, it would be almost like flying this on a cloudy day because it really is shaded underneath all these trees. If I had been on the other side of these trees, it would have been nice and sunny, but I really wanted to come over here and fly this spot for you guys. And this tree right here has some notoriously small gaps. Decided not to go up through that one again. But it flies good. I have to say that this one is probably one of the better SPC Makers that I've flown lately, mainly because it just didn't have vibration problems right when I fired it up, and you guys are going to probably see some reviews coming up where I do have a couple. And I believe Stu from UAV Futures has had some issues with the one that has prop guards on it, and you will see my review on that one pretty soon. But this one is true to the game. If you get this one, you'll have a good time with it. It's not a bad quad, and it has a pretty standard setup on it. That 600 TVL camera on there, you can change it out. It's pretty universal AIO. So all the parts are interchangeable too. So if you want to upgrade this frame to do different things later, you can do that. That's not a problem. You might even be able to add a run cam micro on this one. But don't worry about it. You don't need a run cam micro on everything, guys. It is certainly nice, but you don't need it. There's a little bit of water on the lens. So that's about it for this review, guys. Not a bad quad. You can check that out in the link below. And I will definitely be firing up a new one here for you shortly. Thanks again for hanging out. Please do subscribe. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one.